So it's really nice to have a youth session. And I think we have already met. So we had the first session. I took the first two sessions titled as The Lost Wealth. And some of you are still in touch with me. I don't remember the names, but I still receive some messages. Okay. So it's very nice to have all the youth. In fact, I'm always grateful to all the youth, especially the unmarried youth who come for the sessions. Because when it comes to married people, they get beatings from all around, in the office, at home, from kids, from wife, and so on. So when they come to the session, like, theek hai, they have understood the entire world, and they know now spirituality, bhakti is the only solution. In fact, last Sunday we started a Gita course for married people. So we had 3 online Gita courses started last Sunday, and in 2 logins and 2 sessions there were 400 people, 450, and in one of them there were 880 participants. So you can just imagine how many people are so interested to attend Gita course, especially married people I'm talking about. But when it comes to youth, दुनिया भर का टाइम है, ये एक्सप्लोर करना है, वो एक्सप्लोर करना है, शादी हुई नहीं है, we have a lot of time, we have to do this, do that. So when someone takes out time, especially unmarried youth, and comes for a session, I'm always grateful from my heart. So I pray to the Lordships before starting the session that may the Lordships shower their choicest blessings onto all of you all, so that you all take up this practice of spirituality more and more seriously and enjoy this path of bhakti. So having said this, let me start with today's session. Let me share my screen. Okay. So I hope it's visible to everyone. Okay. So let's start with the chanting of prayers. Please repeat after me. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Brinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam karoti vachalam pangam langhayate girim yatkripatam vande Shri Guru Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. So we're discussing a very, very wonderful scripture. The essence of all the Vedic literature is called as the Bhagavad Gita, the divine song of God. And we dedicate today's presentation to His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of ISKCON, because of whom today, all around the world, we have the embassies of spiritual world called ISKCON. And for your information, I think I had already told this in the first class as well, that ISKCON has distributed 50 crore Bhagavad Gita all around the world. In fact, Bhagavad Gita as it is, this particular edition, this particular book is a hot selling one. So all around the world, people are reading Bhagavad Gita by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada. In fact, I always feel grateful to Srila Prabhupada because of him, today all around the world, be it blacks, be it whites, be it browns, small-eyed, wide-eyed, tall ones, short ones, many people all around the world are chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, reading Bhagavad Gita, understanding Bhagavad Gita, and applying the principles of Bhagavad Gita in life. And we Indians, we are very fortunate because right from childhood, we have some knowledge of Sanatana Dharma, and onto that, now we have come to ISKCON, and we are learning from the teachings of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada. So we dedicate this presentation to him. And today's topic is also very interesting. The art of work, or the philosophy of karma. In fact, throughout the whole world, people might believe in God or not believe in God. But surely they will believe in the philosophy of karma. In fact, I had one of my colleagues. So when I was working as a faculty in Mumbai University. So once what I did was, it was December time, and in December we ISKCON devotees, we go out and distribute books. So I thought, let me distribute the books even in my staff room. Then I contacted one of my colleagues. So he was my teacher, he was my faculty in the final year, and then immediately after final year I joined as a faculty, so we became colleagues. Then I started chatting with him. Then I started telling him that Bhagavad Gita is such a wonderful book. These are the aspects and this and that. So many things I was telling him. I also spoke about the body-soul concept, which you all went through in the last session. And then after speaking all that, he said, I don't believe in all this. So whenever someone says, I don't believe in all this, my Brahmastra is karma. So I put forward karma philosophy. So I asked, so can you tell me that why throughout the whole world, we have so much of distinctions. Like, we differentiate. There are so many categories. There are some people who are black. There are some people who are white. There are some people short. There are some people who are inborn handicapped or physically challenged. There are some people who speak very nicely. There are some people who sing very nicely. There are some people, seemingly who don't have any qualities. Some people are born rich. Some people are born poor right from childhood. So how is it so? And this is my question, this is a Brahmastra, which I put forward, and people say that when someone says, I don't believe in all this. So when we put forward these questions, people have no option but to believe, because this is a very logical point. You might believe in God or you might not believe in God, but you have to believe in the philosophy of karma, because it's not that the coin is tossed, head, tail, you go here, you go there. ऐसा नहीं होता है. You toss a coin, head, okay, you go to a rich person's house and take birth, and you go to a poor person's house and take birth. No, there should be some logic. I met an atheistic person, I think it was January or sometime, during that time, and I was holding a Bhagavad Gita, distributing a Bhagavad Gita. So this person, he started speaking and he started telling his philosophy. I started explaining Bhagavad Gita, and he started explaining me his own philosophy. And he's an atheist. And I asked him that, how come you're an atheist, and do you belong to some association? What do you do, and things like that. You know what he said? I belong to an atheistic club called Tirupati Tirumala Atheistic Club. Tirupati Tirumala Atheistic Association. I was thinking, a place where people go and become devotees, and here a person is saying that, I belong to atheistic club. And you know what he said? He said that in this entire world, everything is just a process. Brainless people speak like this. So he was saying everything is a process. So I said that how is it that there's some people born poor, some people born rich? Some people are inborn black, some people are inborn white. How do we understand all this? So he said, it's a process. Well, okay, bhai, tera process bata. Tell me what process you're talking about. And then he started explaining, no, it's just natural. It's it's nature's this one and that one, and it's like one person has to go through some process. He was not able to describe what that process is. So the point that I'm trying to make here is, in general, people will believe in karma, but there are few unfortunate souls who will not be able to understand also what is karma. But then for us, it's very clear. It's very logical. that there has to be some logic. There has to be some logic behind this entire setup, this entire world that we're seeing around. And when we see people with different natures, we have to come to a conclusion that yes, there is something behind. And what is that behind? That's what is the discussion that we are entering. The discussion on karma. But before that, let me take you all through the recap of last few sessions. And then we'll start with the philosophy of karma. In the first 3 sessions, I'm sure you had a nice time. So Achyut Arjun Sakha Prabhu, one of my good friend, he took the session, and then my mentor, His Grace Harikshar Prabhu, took the next few sessions. So why Bhagavad Gita? Search for happiness concept. We discussed about human beings have 4 needs: physical need, psychological need, emotional need. And we said, even after these 3 needs are fulfilled to a very great extent, still the person will not be satisfied, because still the 4th need is missing. And that is the spiritual need. And after that spiritual need comes in someone's life and fulfilled to some extent, the person starts feeling that inner satisfaction. And in that session, we discussed about the background of Bhagavad Gita and what is this Gita course all about, and so on and so forth. Then in the second session, I'm sure we have discussed this particular thing of what is really important. So Duryodhana's expertise or the signs of victory on the side of Pandavas. And we also discussed about how to get those wonderful signs of victory on our side by practicing simple tips. And I'm sure you people have already started implementing the same. And the one wonderful shloka which we discussed in that session, Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna, Yatra Partho Dhanurdhara, Tatra Shri Vijayo Bhutir Dhruva Nitir Matir Mama. So wherever there is Krishna and wherever there is Arjuna, there are 3 important things, or 4 important things. That is victory, extraordinary power, opulence, and morality. So these wonderful aspects are there wherever there's Krishna and wherever there's Arjuna. And then in the third session, we talked about the root cause analysis. We discussed about the body-soul concept, reincarnation, near-death experience. We tried to prove that how we are not the body, we're spirit, soul. And then we discussed about attitude of comparison, how to get rid of this disease of comparison. And then committing wrong acts. How do we commit wrong acts? I'm sure you might have realized that chart, which begins with Dhyayato Vishayan Pumsaha, that is attachment to the sense objects, then the lust feelings going up, and then you try to endeavor more. When you don't get it, you become angry, and so on and so forth. Right? This comes in 2nd chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So today we're going to enter the next chapter. After that, there's a 3rd chapter, and also we'll discuss some other chapters also from Bhagavad Gita in this particular session. So this is the agenda for today. We're going to discuss various points from this. Now let's start with the first topic. This is a prerequisite basically. So let's discuss on work or renunciation, which is best. Can I have some answers in the chat box? Work or renunciation, which is the best? I'm seeing the chat box. Work. Okay, work. Okay, work. Just 4 ही लोग हैं session में. Okay, more are there. ठीक. Work without attachment. Okay. Rajesh says work without attachment. Okay. ठीक है. So most of you are saying work and both in their way. Okay, that's no. It's like A or B, both in their way. That's a good answer, Sanve. Okay, so you people are clear what is good, that is work or renunciation, but Arjuna was not clear. Arjuna had a question. Arjuna asked this question to Krishna. Let's see this shloka. Let's try to analyze the shloka. Please chant after me. Arjuna Vacha Jayasi Chet Karmanaste Mata Buddhir Janardhana Tatyam karmani ghore man niyojayasi Keshava. So here Arjuna is asking this question. Krishna, you tell me clearly what is best. Tell me, renunciation is best or work is best? In the last chapter, second chapter, you told about body and soul and other things which actually gives renunciation. And now you're saying towards the end of second chapter, Krishna is saying fight. So now Arjuna is not understanding kya kare. Am I supposed to work or am I supposed to renounce? Because Arjuna wanted to renounce. So this is the confused state of Arjuna. And Arjuna had this mentality, and he said that, Krishna, I think that better getting into all these things, fighting with my own people, and then killing them. I don't think it's a good call. Better, what I'll do is I'll go to forest. Will become renounced. Will become renounced. Don't you think many people have this mentality? I'll become a renounced person due to various things. So there are various reasons why people become or why people want to renounce. The first thing is this: let me give up all these things and become sannyasi. So many people have this thing. I'll become a sannyasi. I'll become a sannyasi. Bas ho gaya, no, too much. So from couple of years, there are few people who are coming to us and they're saying this, especially married people. So let me tell you my experiences, which I encountered. So when we give sessions to married people, so after the session they come and they say that, Prabhuji, I completely agree with you. Bhagavad Gita is the best. And she, after understanding the body soul concept, after understanding these different tattvas from Bhagavad Gita, I don't want to stay in my family life. I'm going to completely dedicate. And then when people are speaking like that, you'll feel like, oh, baapre, kitna bhakti hai iske dil mein. So much of bhakti. And then you scratch a bit, then you'll understand. Actually, she's troubling me so much at home. She and the two demons at home, the small kids. Enough, Prabhuji. I cannot handle this, Prabhu. I cannot handle. Please take me in your ashram. Please take me in your ashram. So there's like, when there are some problems, people want to take up renunciation. Renunciation basically means to give up work and to become a sannyasi. In fact, many of the people feel that ISKCON is a sannyasi or renunciants manufacturing company, or monks are created in ISKCON. This is a myth. It's not easy to be it's not easy to become a monk. This is what we have to be very clear. So many times, parents, I'm sure all of you will face this problem at home. So many times, parents feel, "Arey nahi, zyada bhakti mat karo, limit mein karo." How many of us have heard this statement from parents? Limit mein bhakti karna chahiye. Anyone? Okay, I see. I don't know how to pronounce this name. Sai Teja. I don't know if I'm right. Elanki Sai Teja. Okay, my parents are afraid. Nitin is saying, and then Sumit is saying this. Who else? Yes, Rohit is saying. Yes, everyone's parents say this. Limit में भक्ति करना चाहिए, ज़्यादा मत करो. ज़्यादा करेंगे तो क्या होगा? You'll become a monk. You'll give up everything. This is what people say. This is what parents say. See, one thing we have to understand. Why so much bhakti? Krishna Prasad, Mohan is saying yes. Yes, this is a fact. Many of the boys who come to our sessions, they say this, that my parents are saying, you'll become a renunciant. But, renunciation is not easy. It's not eating halwa. It's like, someone has given you halwa and you're eating it. This is what parents feel. Renunciation is eating halwa. And parents at home, they feel, my son is the purest son. There is no other son in the entire world. No other kid is as pure as my kid. Arey Baba, you go and see your kid what he's doing outside. Yes. Many of the times parents don't know what the kids are doing outside. I also take college sessions. So engineering students come to the sessions. And one day I was giving a class on this. The topic was how to get rid of the habit of pornography. This was the topic. And there were like few students sitting and they were hearing me, and then I was giving various tips, and trying to explain that, why it is not good and things like that. And then, one boy, he says, Naini, Prabhuji, I feel, this knowledge is important. This knowledge is important. And he said, and he was too much addicted. He was too much addicted to that. And then, towards the end of the session, then he was telling me that, Prabhuji, my parents are very much worried that I'll become a monk. I said, give the number of your parents, I'll tell. I'll tell what you're doing here. Once they understand what you're doing here, automatically they will be like peaceful. The problem at home is parents feel that, oh, my son is the purest one. And as soon as he starts practicing bhakti little, he'll become a renunciant. Aisa nahi hai. We know the fact what we are within, right? Bhakti is something, or this spirituality is something which is needed. It is mandatory in everyone's life. Everyone's life, this is mandatory. Anyone who does not practice spirituality, they are very, very unstable within, extremely unstable. I'm meeting so many people now, people are married and people are old. A 60-year-old person mailed me. I can show you the mail. It's there in my mail. When I was serving as an e-counselor, there was a mail from a 60-year-old man. That's a good thing. Old man. You know what his question was? I'm feeling, I have got lots of lusty desires. Can you please help me to overcome? I was thinking in my mind, Arey bhai, tu kabhi bhi mar sakta. You can die anytime. You still have lusty desires. Another person who came, married person with a kid, he was telling that, I'm addicted to these watching nonsense on internet and so on and so forth. So the ones who don't practice spirituality, controlling one's senses is very difficult. And for every small thing, there'll be so much of problem. We'll become so sensitive for everything around. So spirituality or bhakti is mandatory. Chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, mantra meditation is mandatory for everyone. No one can say that, I think, it's not needed for me. No one can say this. Everyone has to practice. Everyone, whoever wants to live a happy life and a peaceful life. And surely, anyone who practices bhakti, anyone who practices spirituality, such a person, becomes very stable within, strong within, and he can overcome these urges of senses and so many other aspects, right? So when someone says that bhakti limit mein karna chahiye, there is no limit. There is no limit to it. In fact, my grandmother was telling me this. He was telling me that, why are you doing so much of bhakti? You're still young. Enjoy your life. When you become old, you can do bhakti. And that lady, she would watch TV. She was in her 70s or something, and she would watch TV. And I asked her straightforward, I asked her, you are old, what are you doing? So people feel this, but then trust me, that this is not the case. Bhakti, everyone has to practice in a very, very young age, right from start. And no one should fear that I'll become a renunciant. That's a long way. And when it comes to ISKCON, anyone who has to join as a monk or become a sannyasi, there are so many exams to write. They should know so many scriptures. There are so many interviews. That person is under vigilance for 2 to 3 years. And after that, the person is accepted as a monk, in ISKCON community. If that person is not good, in whatever, process which I just mentioned, the procedure which I mentioned, if he fails the procedure, he's not accepted. He's asked to get married. Now, can you imagine becoming a renunciant is so difficult? It's not easy. It's not easy. Very, very few people get this opportunity, to be a monk. So when we are practicing bhakti, I don't think, we should ever become fearful. Arey Baba, mere sath kya hoga? Kuch nahi hoga. Achhe se bhakti karo. So people who have lots of problems and say that, oh, let me give up all these things and become sannyasi, that is not a correct renunciation. That's not a correct renunciation. Then, in fact, when there's a higher call, and when someone gives up things and takes up to renunciation, that's a different thing. But nowadays, people who have problems, they are like, oh, let me become a sannyasi. And then, there's another thing, which people have. Let me quit my body. And when someone quits the body, then people say that RIP, rest in peace. Now, all of you have attended the session on body soul. Now you tell me, which soul rests in peace? Which soul rests in peace? Once you quit one body, you have to take another body. Kahan hai? Rest in peace kahan hai? So people who think that, let me quit my body, they are the ones who are, very, very unintelligent. They think that when I finish the body, everything is finished. Aisa nahi hai. Once we quit the body, there's another body which we will get. So this point has to be very, very much clear. And I don't know if the concept of ghost was discussed in the last session. So let me give a glimpse of the ghosts and spirits. So when someone quits the body, it's like a person is in the prison, and a person in the prison, the criminal, he escapes from the jail. Okay? Now when he escapes from the jail, when he's caught back, can you imagine what punishment that person will get? Double the punishment what was there previously, right? Similar thing happens. You're caught in this body, this is like a jail, and you try to escape by your own will, that is committing suicide. So what happens? The material nature does not give a body to that person. So he remains a spirit. So it's like in the last session, I'm sure you have discussed about this point of we have a gross body, and inside that we have a subtle body, and inside that we have spirit soul. So it's like the two coverings, gross, subtle, and in that, we have a spirit soul. So now when you give up the gross body by committing suicide, still subtle body is there. Mind, intelligence, false ego is still there, and it's holding the soul. And what happens is, when the gross body is removed, untimely, when the person using his own free will commits suicide, so this subtle body which is there along with soul, it wanders around. Like for example, a lifespan of a person is 60 years and he commits suicide at the age of 30. So for next 30 years, the person will not get a gross body. And not getting a gross body is literally a very, a very terrible situation, because as the subtle body, it has the tendency, or it has the urges of hunger, thirst, and so many other urges are there. But without a gross body, the subtle body cannot fulfill these urges. So it's like your hands and legs are tied, you're feeling very thirsty, very hungry, and everything is there in front of you, but you cannot eat and you cannot drink. Can you imagine that state? That is the pain of a person who commits suicide and remains in the ghostly body. So when we say that, let me quit my body, let me commit suicide, there is no rest in peace. In fact, there is lots of battle. And then some people might say that, "Arey, itna kyun magaj mari? Let me not do anything. Let me sit at one place. So now, if someone is like, no, I'll not do anything, what will happen? So inaction is not a solution. If suppose you're just sitting at one place, what will happen? First, you'll become lazy, lethargic, and then the body will become weak. There'll be so many diseases that will come. And you're just sitting at one place, not doing anything. People will not respect at all. They'll say, "Arey, ye to bas baitha rehta hai. There's no use of this person," right? So in this way, we see that these three are surely not a solution, right? So in this way, we need to understand this one very important point, that is renunciation. In these three ways, that is due to problems, is not a solution, right? So this is the point that we need to understand. So now if renunciation is not a solution and we have to work, now the question is, what sort of work should we choose? Now we are entering a topic called karma, action or activity. Now you look at this. This is the most interesting thing that happens to all of us. This is the way people renounce. Boga and Tyaga. So this concept of Bogatyaga is very nice. So people feel that, especially people who do dieting, they'll eat nicely, and they're like, "Bas, abhi aur nahi." Then after that, what? For a few days, it will be nice, and after that, again the person will come back, and again the person will start eating. I remember my younger brother, he would like gulab jamuns a lot. And one day my mother had prepared gulab jamuns, and he ate so much that day, so much, that after that, till date, now I'm talking about a decade back story. Till date, whenever gulab jamun is made, he's always away. He's always away. So initially it's like Bogatyaga. This goes on. And also when it comes to work, all of us see, when it comes to work, people work like donkeys day and night put together. And then they'll work, and finally they get tired and they're like, "Oh, let me take a break. Let me go for a vacation." And when you go for a vacation, what happens? And when we are on vacation, then we start thinking, "Arey nahi, ye kaam karna hai, boss ko wo bolna hai, manager ne ye bola tha," and so much of work is pending. So you're on vacation and thinking about work, and you're working and you're getting tired and you want to think about vacation. This is called as Bogatyaga mentality. You enjoy a lot and then finally you feel like, nahi, bas, abhi aur nahi. This normally happens with drunkards. So they drink a lot of alcohol and they'll keep vomiting. And then after that day, like, enough. Now I'll not touch the bottle. And for next few days, no touching of the bottle. And after that, again, back to normal. So this is Bogatyaga. So such renunciation is of no use. So we have to work. That's what is the point that I'm trying to make. We have to work. There's no question of renunciation. So this is the point that even is made in Bhagavad Gita. So let's try to recite this shloka, a very nice shloka, to understand and to meditate on. Please chant after me. Karmendriyani samyamya ya aste manasasmaran indriyarthan vimodhatma mithyachara sauchate. So translation goes like this. One who restrains the senses of action, but whose mind dwells on sense objects, certainly deludes himself and is called a pretender. Well, basically, externally we might have renounced. Now, some people are there, who will renounce from externally. Enough, abhi aur nahi. But internally, the person still has a craving that I want to enjoy. This is the reason that why we have so many examinations in ISKCON and so many interviews and so much observation. Just imagine a person who has got a lot of sex desire in the heart, and that person, he becomes a monk, and then he's there in the temple, and then he just keeps any girl comes in the temple and he's just scanning from top to bottom. So it's like externally I'm there as a renunciant, and internally so much of desire and craving for enjoyment. That's what is called as a pretender. Such a person is called as a pretender. So when Arjuna is saying that I'll not do anything, I'll renounce. So Krishna is saying, Arey Baba, abhi nahi. No, you cannot do that. You cannot do that. No, it's like the concept of din mein sannyasi, raat mein vilasi types. There are many people. Externally, in the daytime, they'll act like, they are like very, very nice sannyasis. But at night time, they'll have a lot of opposite gender around, and they'll try to enjoy. So what is the use of such renunciation? That's what Krishna is saying. Arey, mind is dwelling on the sense objects, trying to enjoy, and externally you're trying to give up. There's no use. So you have to work, Arjuna. You have to work. So this was the point that was made. So basically till now, what am I saying is we have to work. Simple. We cannot give up our work. We have to work. Now, what sort of work are we talking about? What kind of work should one do? This is the question. So let me take you to the next slide. So this is the first slide, and I want you all to answer in the chat box. I want to listen from you all. I want to understand what are your thoughts on this. Okay. So which work is good and which work is bad? So this is the first one, the first image and the second image. So you can write first, good, second, bad, whatever, depending on your understanding. Please go ahead. In the chat box, please. First image, is it good or bad? Second image, is it good or bad? So please go ahead and write. Both are bad. Okay. Sai Teja is saying both are bad, both are not good. Okay. Both are bad. Sagar is saying second one is bad. Okay. So maybe the first one is good, Sagar. This is what you meant by that. Okay. Can I see the pics again? Oh, pics are there on the screen. Pics are there on the screen. Purushottam, you can see. Chaitanya, both are bad. Okay. Sachin, depends on the context. Okay. Rajesh, both are required. Sanvay saying depends on the situation. Shumi saying it depends on the viewer's perception. Abhi aa rahe na sab line pe. Depends upon the situation and the person. First one is bad. Less data to make the prediction. Okay, chalo. Okay, I'm displaying the next slide now, and I want you all to answer the same. Go ahead. First and second slide, and I want to know which one is good and which one is bad. I'm not able to see the chat box. Yes, truth and charity. Chalo, chat box mein dikha. Boliye. Second one is better, at least he can. Okay. So truth and charity, these were the 2 points, these were displayed. So which one is better? Which one is good? Which one is bad? Please go ahead. Truth is good. Okay. Truth is good. Oh, everyone is saying both are good. Sagar says both are good. Sachin again very intelligently is saying again depends. Chaitanya, second one is good. Rahul Radhakrishnan is saying both are good. Nitish, truth. Shivrama Krishna, this charity is good. Okay. Charity we should have along with truth. Okay. So Deepak, you're saying both are good. That's what you're saying. Okay. Rax is what is your name? That's how we pronounce it as. Okay. So Rax is saying both are good. And then yeah, so many of you are saying both are good. Okay. Now let's go back to both the images and let's try to see which one is good and which one is bad. Okay, the first one. So many of you said both are bad. Now let me ask you a question. Let's take the first image, shooting from the gun. So is shooting by a soldier during the war on the battlefield on the border bad? Second image. Let me take the second image. A parent